Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Kickerball Podcast. I'm your host for today, Danny Lang. Today, we got a very special guest, Deryk Jones Jr., formerly of University
Yeah,
of Portland, formerly of CSUN, and now with LAFC too. How are you doing today, man?
I'm great. I'm great, honestly. Just came back from training, so I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Yeah, and the last two games have been great, though, too. I mean, 3-3 thriller against Vancouver, those twos, and then El Tráfico Listo, if I'm getting the name right. I know, because it's the twos against Ventura
Yeah.
County,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's been huge over the last couple of years, but a great win on your end as well.
Yeah. No, it's great to beat the rivals, of course. It's always a fun one. You want to, stick it to them, make sure they know, who's top dog. So we set the tone that night, we got to do it the next time. But yeah, we started off, the first game 3-3, went up 3-0. And, we let them come back. But I think it's good for us, honestly, because, it's good to learn those lessons earlier in the season rather than later. So, we learned from that and, we responded well. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a huge part of what I talk about, at least, well, not me specifically, but what I've heard from college players is that they're all right with having these little lumps earlier in the beginning of the year as long as it's something that you can learn from and consistently look to figure out maybe where the holes could have been and then just going ahead and having a great win, a great 3-1 win, following it up. I don't think there was a better answer that you guys could have gave.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all about your responses, to things that don't go your way. So, you
Right.
know, the adversity, it's always going to be there. So as long as you respond well to it, you'll be all right.
For sure. So tell me about the adjustment to the pro game so far. I mean, it's been short, but I know you've been training with the twos for a little while after the college career ended and finally getting to sign and getting these starts though too, the last two matches. What's the transition to being a professional been like, if there has really been much of one?
I mean, that transition, at that point it becomes, now it's a job and, it's a great job, like obviously, because it's something that I love to do and you get the opportunity to have this job, you got to take advantage of every moment. So, it's a bit of an adjustment, new team, new organization, new like what new ways, know how am I gonna fit in? How am I gonna elevate a team? How am I gonna, make sure I get the most out of this and that they get the most out of me? And I think going into any new situation with an open mind and then obviously bringing your own, style and swag to whatever you can do is key. But it's cool. I've been very excited to start this journey, and it's a blessing, and I'm just getting started. So I'm really excited about it all.
And what I think is interesting too, and I don't know what the training sessions have been like, but you've been, at least with looking back on your last year in college with CSUN, you were very particularly used as that wingback along that left side. But on these past 2 years, you've got to start on either side being an outside back. Is
Yeah.
there so much of a difference being in the pro game, being a left back versus a right back? Are there is there a certain situational awareness you need to have to um, force an attacking player onto a certain side? If there's been that difference, I'd love to hear that. But again, it's being able to play both sides as an outside back is huge as early as you are in your career.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, I first got recruited by, as a right back, going into college, but, things happen, like players, may get hurt, injured or whatnot, or, certain play styles may fit this game better or not. And being able to play multiple positions in whatever, area you are, like a midfielder, defender, attacker, being able to play on both sides or, inside and out, it's like key because, it's just the goal for a player is to be on the field and be able to play. And so the more positions you can play well and, you know, are comfortable playing and, being able to make a positive impact, the better and the more comfortable you coaches are, of course, putting you in those positions. And so it's very important, and I think for all players, it helps a lot just being able to get more game time and being able to play.
Right. And what I think is interesting too, I mean, you don't necessarily see or at least what I've seen over the past few years, is that you'll have center mids or center defensive mids that end up becoming outside backs at the next level. You've
Yeah.
always been a guy who's been able to be successful as an outside back at whatever, at least from the college game, and then now being able to make strides in the pro game over these last two starts. But were there players of other position that because you had had so much time being an outside back that maybe you had an edge over, to a point where you're actually able to get on the pitch? Maybe you had a center mid who was trying to adjust to being on the left side or the right side,
Yeah.
and that's what ultimately earned you your contract. Was there any bit of that you think over the last few months, or just your
I think,
experience?
yeah, I mean, I feel like obviously I'm an outside back, and that's my strong position, wing back, outside back, and all that. I obviously play center back too, but outside back, it's just different demands in the game. Outside backs and wing backs, you got to be able to fly up and down, and be able to attack, and then of course come back and lock down the winger. And in some games you're not going to be able to go up as much because the winger, like in against Ventura, we were told, because they're a little higher on the field, so you gotta be aware of that you can't always just bomb forward. But I feel like for me, yeah, I was able to get a lot of minutes with CSUN at the wing back position, so I became very fit in that aspect of being able to go up and down, and it's tough for other positions to go into that and try to replicate that. And obviously, you have to, if they do that, you have to do it differently, or in time you'll be able to adjust. But yeah,
And I keep saying outside back. That's on me. I always think of these outside. But yes, playing that wing back position, I think is
yeah. I mean, it's just outside back, wing back. Depends on the formation.
right.
It's not
Um,
that important.
so, thank you for telling me a little bit about what this past experience has been like, at least as of late. But I'm curious to hear from you your entire soccer journey. I know, I've talked a little bit with Coach Davila from your past CSUN days, and he's told me about the passion, the athleticism that you play with, but also certain things about your character, who you gain inspiration from. But yeah, I really want to give you the space to talk about it, to really to tell me from your perspective, but also whoever else could be hearing this. So from your earliest memories in soccer all the way up until you playing in your college days, where did your passion for the sport come from? I want to hear your entire journey of however long or
Yeah,
short it may be.
that's funny. So my first word was ball. So
Really.
I was, yeah, wasn't that it was ball. I like playing sports. So I was a very active kid, and I like playing all sports: tennis, soccer, baseball. Those are my like sports. And then of course I chiseled it down. I think I was big on soccer at first immediately. Started when I was 4, but um I mean, my dad was a little bit of a soccer player. He could play, and he really kind of pushed me to play as well. And obviously, I watched a lot of La Liga growing up, and I'm a big Barca fan, and so obviously Messi, Neymar, Danny Alves. Danny Alves is one of like role models.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least on the field. But he's up there. But yeah, I feel like just early on it was soccer, and obviously you got to cut out the other sports once you get a little more serious, and that's what I did. And I played in Louisiana, and so it's I feel like the soccer there has grown a lot, but it's still got a lot of ways to go. Like there's a lot of states in the U.S. that just don't have the greatest soccer culture, and Louisiana, it really does. There's a lot of potential there because there's so many good players that I grew up playing with that aren't still playing, and it's just because they didn't really have the opportunity or avenue. There wasn't an easy avenue, and like there weren't a lot of coaches getting looks at those types of players. I feel as compared to other states, like in California, there's a lot of exposure, but in Louisiana, it's a lot tougher to get that exposure, and that's why I went to an academy in Minnesota, Shattuck St. Mary's, to get that exposure and academy ball, and be able to get some eyes on me, and that's what really helped my journey. And shout out to Coach Boucher for giving me that opportunity at Shattuck. And but yeah, coming from Louisiana, there's a lot of athletes out there, so I feel like growing up there, I was a smaller kid. I had to be good with my feet before I kind of hit my growth spurt, and so going adjusting from Louisiana ball to going in straight into academy ball was a big jump for me. I won't lie, and you know it was good though. You always got to take those leaps and just kind of send it, and see if you can hang and do your best. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I went from Louisiana to Shattuck, and then obviously I got scouted to Portland. And Portland was it was a roller coaster because I got there and COVID was happening. COVID was happening. They had us washing the balls after practice. It was a whole ordeal.
Right.
But then that spring, the season got moved to the spring, and at that point, I hurt my right ACL, and so I was out that whole spring season, and that led into that fall season. And then literally a year and 2 days later, going into that, tore my other one, and on my left side. And so that was a big hurdle for me overall. I'm glad it happened, because I learned a lot out of it. And, I got a lot of teammates now who are going through similar injuries or just going through injuries, and they reach out because they know I've been through that stuff, and that's something I love to do. Helping spread what I learned from that and how you can do better than how I did it, or copy some similar things, get some stuff out of it, and that's really what it's all about. Spreading what you've learned from things to help other people out, and I love that part of it. There's a lot of connections you make through soccer, and that's finding those connections and figuring out how everybody can get the most out of themselves and reach their potential through those. That's the important part. And of course, yeah, I think I've done that well, and I'm still working on it. But yeah, then of course, so yeah, we toured twice, going into my third, and then third year, I was still recovering from injury, so I kind of was healthy towards the end of the season, so I wasn't really ready to play. And then going into that summer of my fourth year at Portland, I played at Lane United. Starting to get some minutes back, and it's
Right.
it's always an adjustment coming from off of injuries. Especially for that long. Finding your form again, and I didn't really find my form, but I was just happy to be out there playing again, and it was just good to get some game time finally. And so I did that. And then, of course, at Portland, my fourth year wasn't the greatest for me. I think, I only got 28 minutes, but, I still learned a lot, got better even still. And, I graduated. So I'm blessed to, have a degree from there. And, yeah, blessed to have learned a lot over those 4 years from Coach Nick and the entire staff, and a lot of great connections I made with my teammates who I'm very close with still today. And then that leads to CSUN, and that was a great big jump for me. It was actually a cool connection. One of my Booba, he actually kind of connected with one of the guys, Jamar, on CSUN. He was like, they were just trying to connect because I told him I was looking for a school, and so they connected, showed my highlight reel to Coach Terry, and Terry was like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's take a leap. And it was mostly just like, I didn't have a lot of game time, so it was just a lot of practice clips and little game time clips. But Terry took that chance, and it paid off for him with how I played, and I want to make sure I made the most of it. So I'm thankful for Terry for taking a chance on me, my guy.
I mean, that's actually what I was going to ask you too. So, I always like hearing the story, and then I want to like go back through with the phases of just certain things.
Yeah, that was a lot.
But I mean, I can't even imagine. I'm curious. I would love to see the tape actually that they ended up getting sent to Gary. Like, how do you evaluate someone off of that? And then what do you think made Terry really look at you and say, yeah, this is a kid that we really can use as a wingback, that we can pull his potential out of? Like, what do you think got you over the hump with that to be able to have the kind of season that you did? And I mean, I was watching back some of the clips too with this past season's highlight, and you had some of the announcers that were saying this is as close to Marcello as we could get.
Yeah, with the hair and all that. Yeah, it was awesome. I think one thing I want to say is like, like I feel like a lot of players, are at a program and things aren't going great, and then like you're maybe not getting the playing time you want, or things aren't going the greatest for you, and you think you could do somewhere else better somewhere else, but you haven't had the game time. I feel like there's a lot of coaches out there that if you give them some quality footage, even if it's just practice, send it out there. You got to take the chance. You can't stay somewhere because you're scared. And I think I was like, it's time. I need to get more playing time, and wherever I can get that, I want to go there, and whatever a coach sees giving me a lot of playing time, I want to go there and show him that I'm going to be worth that playing time. And I think just talking with Terry, and I feel like he's a very player friendly coach, player heavy, and he's very personable. And so I think he chatted with some of my old teammates, and we're asking obviously about like my mentality and stuff like that. And then he heard about the ACLs, and he's like, well, if this guy's like coming back from that and still getting after it, like he's got to be a beast. And I think he heard that from our first conversation too. And I mean, obviously the clips I had, you could see, my athleticism, and I like getting up the line, and I'm a good defender. And so I think he, just felt like I deserved a chance, and I had the attitude to not take it for granted. So, and I did not at all. So once again, very thankful for him
Yeah.
giving me that chance.
And I like that you brought up I like that you mentioned the word athleticism because that I think is a main thing that I think really characterizes your play. You
Yeah,
play
sure.
larger than your frame. I wouldn't think that you're only 6 feet tall. You play like you're someone who's like 6'4" because you could just get after, you could get after someone in a corner, be able to cut them off from trying to get onto an end line. And then you've also got great speed as well to be able to work in open space to put up a nice shot. One thing that was in your tape though too was it was a goal against Santa Barbara where you're taking a shot around someone, your right foot. Oh my gosh.
The nasty one, yeah.
I want to do everyone a favor. Look up Deryk Jones Jr. CSUN 2024 highlights. You're going to see exactly what I'm saying. And I mean, it's shocking that I think that there weren't other teams that were looking earlier on anyway.
Yeah.
But the athleticism piece. And I wanted to try to connect something that you mentioned before that you weren't the biggest kid and yet you're still able to use this, this athletic piece of you. When were you able to put it all together to where you've become, really a complete player?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I had a late growth spurt, and so I was always pretty scrappy as a kid, though. Even though I was small, I was like, man, I'm gonna get into it with some people. Like, I don't care. Like,
Yeah, of
it's
course.
like I feel like it's a little guy mentality. And so I always had that, and I didn't really hit a growth spurt until I went to Shattuck. It was my 11th grade year. Like that summer, that was when I really hit a good growth spurt. And so I remember I first got there, and like I was going shoulder to shoulder with somebody, and like they just flew out. I was like, oh,
Right.
hey, maybe tides are turning now. And so, I feel like once I learned that, I could put more size on, started hitting the gym more. Cause I remember I was younger and I'd be like, oh, it's going to stunt my growth. Like I can't lift,
You
And
hear
so
that
I
all the
wasn't
time.
lifted. I was just doing like body weight stuff. But, soccer players too need to lift and, lift, not overdo it, but, you got to make sure you get your strength. And so you can body those people, and you're just strong on the ball. And it's a big factor in every league, honestly. Being able to body people off and win headers over people, and get stuck in. So coaches love that. So
Yeah, huge. And I imagine it was a huge part of what got you involved with St. Shannix as well. It was,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, tell me about how that opportunity came up firstly, and then
Got it.
I
Yeah,
also want to have a bit of conversation about just the state of Louisiana soccer after the fact. But how did the academy opportunity get presented to you?
got it was my good friend Lucas Spady. He played with me at like ODP. Louisiana ODP.
Right.
Um, Shout out to the boys on that team. We were cold. Um, but yeah, he played on Mandeville. I was on Louisiana Fire,
Mhm.
and he played on the Mandeville team. And he was the first one to go over there. He went there first. He was a midfielder. Then he was a midfielder turned center back. He's a big, strong guy as well. And he told me about it, because I was both serious about it. And he told me, yeah, bro, I'll talk to the coach, see if we can, get you a little shot out here. He gave me a chance to, get some trainings in with him, with the team, and they liked what they saw. And, Coach Boucher, gave me a chance. And after that, it was cool. Yeah. Just getting opportunities, reaching out to people. Basically, it's connections. A lot of things in life, opportunities are connections with people you've made relationships with, and then obviously you got to put the work in to prepare for those opportunities. And I was ready for it, and I'm just ready for any opportunity. That's the goal right there. You can't control what opportunities you get, but
Mhm.
you got to be ready for them. So
And your journey has really taken you across the country with this kind of thing. You've always been
yeah,
someone that wherever the opportunity is, you're going to go ahead and be able to
yeah,
actually seize it and figure that kind of thing out. I mean,
sure.
does this get where to a point sometimes do you have to shell out of whatever self-doubt may be coming up? I mean, going from Louisiana to Minnesota, there aren't many further places that you could have gone.
Yeah, it was
You know,
cold too.
right? Jeez, I go to school in upstate New York right now. Not that
Yeah.
not that I really can relate so much, but um, and then obviously the difficulty of adjusting to academy ball. When did you realize that that soccer really was something that you wanted to pursue at this extra level and got you to stay for as long as for the 2 years and then going off to play college ball?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that how serious I was taking, the game. And I had these dreams of playing pro, playing in the league, playing for the national team. And, that's been my goal, from since I really started playing, well, not since I started playing, but, those become the goals, and I was very serious, serious as a heart attack about those dreams. And, you have people telling you like, oh, you'll never do that, You have seniors, telling you, like I had seniors telling me, I never, play pro, make it anywhere with this and stuff like that. And I do take it personally, but I like it. I like
Yeah.
if someone's not hating on you, you're playing it too safe. You're not doing something right. And so sometimes the hitters, they tell you exactly where you need to go. And yeah, I think it was my high school in Louisiana. I was like state cup, it was semifinals, something like that, and that was the last game before I, went and tried out at Shattuck. And I could just feel I was like, yeah, I need to get out of here, man. Like I could be doing more with this, I need to be getting more exposure out of this, and just challenging myself more, and pushing myself. And so, I went up there and I was challenged for sure, and it made me a much stronger player, much stronger as a person as well with the relationships I made too. So
So,
yeah,
I mean, I'm curious though too, having grown up in Louisiana and getting to a point where exactly like you said, where you realized that you were kind of outgrowing, where you were at the time. I mean, I've heard of, initiatives to bring pro teams to New Orleans specifically, or,
yeah,
at least to bring more, at least to the southeast of the United States. But,
yeah.
for if you were trying to start a team right now, let's say you were at that point where you were able to bring everything together, what do you think would be the most important thing to bring to a state like Louisiana to give younger kids more opportunities, younger kids just like yourself who were looking for some, maybe it is a pro team or it's an academy that maybe could strengthen and bring coaches together to give more opportunities for these younger kids? What do you think if you had to start this right now, what do you think would be the first thing you would go after?
Yeah, you just gotta have the environment. Like, there's actually, I don't know if they started MLS Next in Louisiana finally, but I'm pretty sure. But there's just got to be an environment where, there's intensity. There's the coaches are serious about helping players
Uh-huh.
get to the level they want to, and they're not messing around. They want the best for them, and there's a lot of great coaches in Louisiana. There's really a lot of untapped potential, and a lot of places in the South, honestly. Like,
Right.
I mean, there's no D1 schools in Louisiana for soccer. For women's soccer is really good in Louisiana. I won't lie. But for men's, it's got a lot of work to improve on,
Right.
and I think I think there needs to be more pathways to get to the next level. It can't just be have high school and club soccer and that's it, or academy soccer. You can't just have that. You need to have the platform to be able to go to the next level. You need the USL teams. You need USL championship team. You need more teams there, and it's for other states as well. But and then you need D1 programs too. You need homegrown places to go in your state. It's really it's just pathways, and yeah.
Right. And that's why I mean I look at a team like Birmingham Legion and they were able to bring kids from across I mean I it's the bigger city in Alabama and they're not able naturally you're not able to tap into the entire state's potential, but I think building that kind of initiative in a state like Louisiana where you don't have the D1 pro or like you're saying, just the academy, the club, the high school that you could get into, it leaves guys like you who I almost don't even want to think where you would have been if Shattuck's couldn't work out.
Yeah,
Be able to
yeah,
see you playing on Next Pro on Apple TV.
yeah,
Like, man,
yeah, yeah. We got some guys that's still doing it. We got Jacob Randall. He's on the Pittsburgh River Hounds for championship. He's doing well. We got some guys around, but it's just really tough. Like yeah, without leaving the state. I mean, it's possible, but like I remember I looked it up when my year for Top Tier Soccer when I was when I committed. It was that summer going into my senior year, and it was like there was only one D1 commit. So it was me in the whole state of
really,
Louisiana for men. I don't know if it changed, but there was a couple D2, D3, but it's like I know a lot of players that could have played D1 level two easily. Like, it wasn't just me. Like, I know that. Like, obviously I put in the work to be there, but it shouldn't be that hard. Like the way I had to go, it shouldn't have been that hard, you know?
yeah.
So
No, I mean, look, I mean, this isn't the only kind of thing that we had this conversation, but look, I'm gonna try to see who I know. Look, I'm from New York. There's a lot of people who, whatever, Wall Street bankers or attorneys over here. I gotta just tell them, look, this is the kind of thing that may very well be. I mean, I think as long as these kinds of opportunities are going to be able to at least be on their way, that I mean, I think exactly like you're saying, there will be more kids
yeah,
in the Southeast who will be able to make it to Division 1 or
yeah.
two, professional teams just like yourself and the Riverhounds out too. It's dope.
I mean, we got some athletes down there, so we're there's a lot on top. The U.S. is big, man. We
Yeah.
we should be we should be a powerhouse in the coming years. We just got to utilize everyone. You know, so
And so now, going all the way back to the LAFC two conversation, like we talked about. Tell me about the training process of earning that contract. I mean, you go from CSUN to LAFC two, and I know there's a great relationship between,
yeah,
I mean, these two teams. I know Terry knows a lot of people. I think there's people who have gone from, um, excuse me, that have gone from the CSUN coaching staff to become even a scout for USL two or excuse me,
yeah,
USL two, LAFC two. But so tell me about not specifically of like every little thing that maybe went because I know there's certain things that you can't talk about that with that. But I mean,
yeah,
how does this opportunity end up coming up? And give me the thought process of the coming weeks of maybe right before your contract and then ultimately the feeling
yeah.
of
Sure.
signing the dotted line.
Yeah, I think obviously we started off the season on a strong foot, and there was some interest. I think Terry was telling me there's some interest at the beginning of the season. Because that's one of the major reasons I also came to CSUN. It's like it's in a hot spot for soccer. LA is there's a lot of exposure there. California is a great state for soccer, and LA specifically is a great city for soccer. Two big major teams, like come on.
Yeah.
And so I think just knowing that and having this, scenery and this arena to ball out and perform, it was really exciting to me. And yeah, I didn't want to take it for granted. And so I think that yeah, there was definitely interest early on, and then obviously I remember there's like UCSB game. I'm pretty sure that was a big game that helped me get
Sure.
some more interest. And I think you never know who's watching, and there was some people that came to those games maybe to watch other players, and they see you. So you got to make sure you show up for every game that you play. At least you do your best. And yeah, and then I got invited to a couple of MLS combines, not the big one, but a couple of team combines, and preparing for those is fun too. It's exciting to go into those environments with people you don't really know at all, and you gotta play on a team with them, play scrimmages and stuff like that, and show what you got without overdoing it.
Mhm.
And so it's a fun process. It's kind of like finding a needle in the haystack, and the haystack keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And they obviously bring back guys that they picked out of the combine, and um bring them off for preseason and stuff like that. And then they whittle it down even more to, a couple selections out of the group they brought in, and just get smaller and smaller until they finally sign a couple guys, which I'm very grateful they gave me the opportunity. And, of course I'm gonna take advantage of it. So yeah.
And they've been big on taking the college players too, which I mean, I always love seeing the college boys end up, moving up and succeeding. I mean, yourself, a guy like Alec Hughes from UMass, Tommy Mahalik signed just recently and
Yeah.
then scored in his debut.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nava too from Portland. Nava's
oh,
balling.
right. Yes. Thank you. I'm like, I knew I was missing someone.
Yeah, he's
And then
balling.
even college boys of the past, though, too. I mean, I think it's definitely a good environment for someone like you who's I mean, who's had, there are other teams that are like, just have no interest in taking a college player. And I think you're missing out on a lot of talent by doing that.
Sure, for sure. Plus, it's the experience. Like our keeper, Cabral, he's a pit guy. You pit, like it's just experience. So it's like got him, me, Alec, Nava, and obviously the academy products, and Tommy, obviously just coming in. You got these academy products that are really raw talents too, and like I love those guys, and they're ballers, man. We're a tough team, and I think it's important to have that mixture. You need the right blend of players, to help other players, elevate their games too. And we got more experience because we're older,
Yeah,
and it's a big factor. It's not just the skills. Most of it's here anyway.
for
So
sure. I think it's going to prove dividends coming later on in the season. I mean,
sure, for sure,
still definitely early on, but top of the
yeah,
West right now for this LAFC two team.
yeah,
So, Deryk, I mean, it's been a pleasure, man. I really have, appreciate getting to know you a little bit more, having the conversation about Louisville, your journey. I mean, beating the odds like every professional does, but in such a unique way with your play style and the way that you've developed. But that being said, I've asked all my questions that I've got. If there's anything else that you want to say to the LAFC two faithful, I know the 3252 is a
yeah. Three, two, five,
sport.
two. I'm still learning the chant, so I got to get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Um,
Nah, yeah, it's been good. But yeah, appreciate you having me on here. I love what you're doing, exposing a lot of stories and getting people, signed and stuff on your IG. I love that. It's what it's all about, helping others out. So
But and I'm always going to be thankful for you for wanting to come on
yeah,
and be a part of it. This doesn't go around without players like you who want to come on and tell their stories like this. So
for sure.
um, I'll always be grateful for you, and you'll always have a supporter in me and kick a ball the rest of the way, man.
Hell yeah.
All right, perfect. I'll let
Yeah.
you go and have a good night, man.
All right. Take care.